The PeopleSoft Page and Field Configurator gives you tools to eliminate the most common page customizations, like changing labels, hiding a field, or disabling field entries. You can require your users to enter data for a field, specify default values, and mask the display of sensitive fields. In addition, you can track the changes your users make to information. Let's look at the expense report delivered on the expense report page. You can use the Page and Field Configurator to change the display of the expense report header information. We'll set travel as the default description and make the entry for the default location field required. For the reference field, we'll change the label to Customer Funding Code and make it required. Additionally, we'll hide the Accounting Defaults link. Let's open the Page and Field Configurator component to configure the changes. There are 3 configuration types: Standard, Masking, and Change Tracking. Let's select the Standard configuration type first. Select the Fluid Expense Report component. A component can have multiple configurations using sequences. Use sequence 1 to change the expense report header. Provide the explanation for this action in the comments box. Now, select the fields to configure. For this example, select the Accounting Defaults, Default Location, Description, and Reference fields. We'll set the default description for the expense report to Travel. We'll require an entry for the location description. Next, we'll modify the reference ID label to read Customer Funding Code and make it a required field. And finally, we'll hide the default accounting link. Each sequence can have its own criteria to make the page view different for each use case. You can use component fields as the criteria for the sequence. System variables can also be the sequence criteria. This information is based on your user session. For example, you can change the page display based on the user's mode of entry, showing a different page in correction mode compared to other modes. You can also apply changes when the system reaches a specific date. In addition, the size of the user's device or form factor can be the criteria to differentiate page displays. Use the role-based criteria to display information according to your interaction with the page. You can include or exclude specific roles and user IDs. Select the Map to Portal Registry tab to create the event mapping for Page and Field Configurator. Select the portal navigation and apply the configuration. A confirmation message that the event mapping is applied appears. Let's go back to the expense report to see our changes. The description field now shows travel as the default value. The default location has an asterisk, meaning that it's now required. A new label named Customer Funding Code appears on the reference field, which is also a required field now. The Accounting Defaults field, which was shown under the Attach Receipts link, is hidden. Next, we'll use Page and Field Configurator to mask information on a page. In this example, we'll mask sensitive supplier bid amounts. While configuring the masking feature, you can mask page fields, search fields, and prompts. Select the Total Bid Cost and Total Bid Amount fields to mask. The mask profile identifies how the masked field appears to the user. A full masking profile masks all of the characters and is the default in this instance. Your organization can change the masking profiles. In this instance, you can partially mask the field, leaving the trailing 4 characters visible. Now, apply and save the configuration on the map to the Portal Registry tab. Let's return to the pricing component to review the changes made. Notice that the total bid amount and total bid cost are masked. Next, we'll look at functionality to track the changes your users make. Note that this is not a replacement for PeopleTools auditing, but is a more specific functionality that allows you to target changes to specific fields on specific pages with criteria. Select the fields to track and then apply field or system variables as criteria. Use role-based criteria to track changes made for certain users. We'll use the Resource Profile component to demonstrate these capabilities. We'll track changes to the resource's role and region. Additionally, we'll track changes to work experience information, including customer name, start date, and end date. Select Change Tracking as the configuration type and the Resource Worker Profile component. On the Overview page, select the role and region fields for tracking. On the Work Experience page, select Customer Name, Start Date, and End Date. Now that we have all of the fields selected, we can also define field-based criteria or role-based criteria through the User List tab. The change history can be displayed to the user as related content. Based on the role, you may want to limit what users see in the related content. For instance, they may not have access to view changes made by other users. Users in highly technical roles may need to view the name of the record and field changed. You can enter comments related to the change and upload attachments. Create the event mapping using the Apply Configuration button and activate the related content. Let's go back to the resource profile to use the change tracking configuration. First, change the role and region. Select the Work Experience tab and update the end date and customer name. Then, add a new role. Click the Review Change Summary related content to see a history of changes. The related content shows the name of the field changed, when it was changed, who made the change, and the new and previous values. Change type identifies if a field was updated, added new, or deleted. Enter comments and upload attachments related to the change. For more technical users, the record and field names for the changed fields are displayed. The Page and Field Configurator provides users options for eliminating their most common page customizations and tracking the changes made by them. For more information, go to PeopleSoftInfo.com.